Hey guys, it's Tana and welcome back to my channel. Today is part 2 of crafting on a budget, Halloween edition. Real quick, we're going to show you that I already stamped these little skeleton guys out in Orange Twist, Grape Crush, and Lime Ricky. I just put them shoulder bone to shoulder bone and then fussy cut around them. And now we're going to try ink blending on this JOANNS cardstock. Now this is the cardstock I usually use for card bases. And I figured, why not try it since we're crafting on a budget for distress ink. It did not work well. See the ink spot fly off through the air. Yep, I tossed it right out of the frame. Didn't work good. It was too blotchy, and I was having a hard time with it. And this is, as you can tell, sped up. So I went back to Bristol, and we're going to start with some Dusty Concord there in the center. And then we're going to work some Wilted Violet around the outside edges of that and just blend it together till it looks not seamless, but, you know, blends together well. Distress inks are a little bit harder than Distress Oxides, but they have a totally different look. So I wanted to use them, bring them back out. I don't get to use them often. So I just go back and forth between those two, blending them until I like the way it looks. And then I take some Blueprint Sketch and I go right around the outside of the Wilted Violet, not quite as far in. And it does look like I'm covering the Wilted Violet up, but I do go back in with both of those purples again. I was just trying to get the background that I had pictured in my mind, if you will. And I did kind of achieve what was going on in my head. And then I went to Black Soot and put that only on the outer. Actually, no. I think I just went in with Chip Sapphire, trying to make that blue a little bit deeper around the edges. And then I went in with the Black Soot on the very edge all the way around. And I just blended all of this together back and forth. That's why it sped up so much. I probably spent a good 10 minutes on this panel, getting it the way I wanted it to look. So after I got that Black Soot on there, it was quite dark. So I blended some more Blueprint Sketch in there. And then I went back in with the Wilted Violet once more, and then the Dusty Concord. And as you can see, I have a piece of purple tape on my fingers so that I can hold my piece of cardstock and not get too much ink on my hands. So after we finish that up, we're going to put it in the splat box and we're going to spray some Tattered Angels Iridescent Glimmer Mist over it and a little bit of water also. I did both, and I think I even added some more Glimmer Spray after that. I really have to get another shinier iridescent spray. That Glimmer Spray is pretty, but it doesn't quite do it for me. I heated the panel up and let it dry out with my heat gun, and then I trimmed it down to about 3 3/4 by 5 1/4 inches. I think that's what the final size of that was, because I wanted to have a mat behind it of glitter cardstock, and also my skeletons only went so far, so I ended up gluing them on with my Lawn Fawn glue and then trimming it down even more so that they kind of went off of the sides instead of stopping short. And I also, if you notice, went around the outline of my skeletons. Instead of doing it with black, I did it with a yellow marker. I wanted them to kind of glow on their background. So I made sure that the hollows of the eyes were colored in with the yellow, that the areas around the hip bones were colored in with the yellow. I did all that little background just very carefully with an alcohol marker. You could probably use a zig marker too. So now while that's got some acrylic blocks on it and it's drying off to the side, we're going to make this background for the second card. I really thought that for $2, this stamp set was super cute. I'm a little disappointed that I didn't get to use the kitty cat, so we stick him on the inside at the end there. But I do plan on using him on at least one more Halloween card. So I took turns using each of the same 3 colors that I used on the skeletons. And I tried to get to them fast enough with my clear embossing powder, because we're going to do some Distress Resist. I wasn't quite fast enough, so you will notice that after I do this background, I end up going in with embossing powder again with the stamps individually. Now, I started off trying to stamp these stars very carefully without stamping the moon in some cases, and it didn't work. So I ended up doing stamp surgery on that stamp and I think I show it. And I cut that apart very carefully, separated the stars from the moon. And yes, I do see that there's some kind of giant white fuzzy on the top of my head. My kids put that there. I do not know why. We were playing around earlier in that day. They like to do stuff like that to me. They like to put stickers on my back or tape signs to my butt and stuff like that. You know, house full of kids, that's what you got to live with. And it bothered me immensely the entire time I was editing this video, that little white fuzzy on the top of my head. But try as I might, there's the stamp surgery there. I could not avoid showing it to you because you have to really get in there and make sure you're lining those stamps up correctly, or you're going to get an image with a white halo around it, which did happen on one or two of them. So after I recover all of those and heat up the clear embossing powder again and go through all those little tiny stars that I stamped out, we are going to do a resist background. We're going to go back to the regular distress inks. The panel's trimmed down slightly bigger. I think this one's 4 by 5 1/4. We'll see in a minute. I'll let you know for sure in a minute. I can tell by looking at the mat behind it. They both have a glitter cardstock mat behind it from that $1.99 paper pad, where you're going to use black soot first. And I'm just using a little sponge dauber because it just has to go on smoothly over the images. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's no real blending going on here. I do add some purple. I add some wilted violet to that. So never fear, it looks splotchy, but that's only because I knew I was adding purple in there. I didn't want it to be solely black. I wanted to have that purple tinge. And yes, if you can tell, I am sick again. Honestly, I don't think the antibiotic did any good. It was probably viral, and that's why it didn't work, because I finished taking it, and I finished taking my prednisone, and I'm still sick. Or I got something new. One or the other, but it kind of really seemed like there was no break in it. So I'm trying, guys. So here's the purple, and you can tell that purple's being added in there. It gives it that little tinge. And then after we get that done, we're going to wipe it off with a cloth, just so all the images are nice and clean. I just squirted like 1 squirt of water onto my cloth and then used it to very lightly rub over all the embossed images. I'm hiding in the car doing my voiceover, which is par for the course lately, and I'm watching outside as my kids play on a Saturday afternoon with a winter coat and hat on already. That's how cold it is here today. So we're going to trim that panel down and make it even with the edges of the skeletons. And now real quick, we're going to do the insides. So I don't know if you guys will notice, but I do both of them vertically. So there's Let's Get Spooky, and all these sentiments are off that $1.99 stamp set. And then the little banner that says Happy Halloween. And then I threw that cute little kitty dressed up as a mummy down in the corner. And it was then that I realized, while I was doing the second one, that the orientation on one of them was wrong. So here we are stamping it again, landscape style, right? Landscape portrait, yeah. So it can go in the skeleton card. Yeah, I was mad. Not like it took much stamping to fix it, though. And here we go. Steel gray card base for the one card and a fog card base, top folding for the other one. And just a little bit of that $1.66 tape runner to adhere those on the insides. Now we're going to put our skeletons onto their border, and as you can see, I cut the middle out of the glitter cardstock to save it, use it on another project. And then we're going to tape that whole base or frame down to the base. And I'm pretty sure that's the one that goes on the steel gray. Yeah. After that, we're going to move to the black frame, the glitter cardstock frame, and we're going to put our embossed background on that one. And I really do like the way that came out. I don't do the resist technique often, but I do like it. I really wanted to use that little kitty dressed up as a mummy, and I just ran out of time. I even had some of the paper pad pattern paper cut out some of the images in case I wanted to use them, but I didn't get around to it. 2 cards is a lot for a video. So here I'm showing you I'm using my Skinny Upper Alpha from the Stamp Market because I already had them on hand to spell out boo for one card, and the second set of boo letters is from a little tiny set I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby, I think it was like $3. But there's some really tiny letters. So they each have 3 layers of black cardstock, and then that very fun holographic paper from the $1.99 pad on the top layer. And I kept it simple. They both say boo. It gets a little tedious cutting out a lot of letters when you're doing that many layers to give it dimension. So save yourself the trouble and just keep the sentiment simple. That's one thing to keep in mind for Christmas cards, which I am also currently working on to sell. And so I make 10 cards of the same one at a time. You know, you got to keep it simpler. It's just going to get too much to do. So there's a look at that first card. The second card, I didn't like the way the boo looked anywhere without something behind it. So I took a little strip of the mirrored purple cardstock left over from another card and just adhered the letters to that. And then I decided last minute to cut out another exclamation point. I wasn't going to because it's super, super tiny for this one and it's very hard to handle, but I didn't like it without the exclamation point. So now we're just going to decide where it goes, and we're going to put a little fishtail on a banner on the end of it. And I decide in the lower right corner is where it looks best. So I popped that up with a little bit of Dollar Tree foam tape. And yes, you heard me. Foam tape from the Dollar Tree comes on a row, and it works very well. So I just trim off the excess off of that, and there's the 2 cards, guys. I mean, how much simple can you get for crafting on a budget? And they're 2 really cute looking cards. I will definitely keep my eye out on that $1.99 bin, and I suggest you guys do as well. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like what you see and you're not yet a subscriber. Don't forget to hit the notification button so you can be aware of the monthly giveaways. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. Bye bye for now.